You're wanting to know what exactly is happening in the greater Louisville, Kentucky housing market? Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective, and today I'm going to take you through 5 of the key things you need to be paying attention to when it comes to understanding your monthly market update for Louisville, Kentucky. To understand the housing market, you need to understand the inventory. And by inventory, I mean just how many homes are available for purchase right now. Here we are, rounding out April of 2026. And in the greater Louisville housing market, currently we have 3,385 homes on the market. That means there are 3,385 homes for buyers to choose from if they're out shopping. Now, how does that compare to where we were just 4 weeks ago when we were finishing out first quarter? Well, at the end of first quarter, we were a little underneath that at 3,101. So about a 200 home difference as we fast forward here until the end of April. Now, how does that compare with where we started 2026? At the top of the year, we were just a notch over 3,000 at 3,085. So basically that tells the story of decently steady throughout 2026 so far. Started at 3,085, went to 3,100, and then from there we're wrapping up April at 3,385. So that tells a pretty steady 3,000 plus inventory story for Greater Louisville since the top of the year. However, now let's take a look and see how that compares to this time last year. So this time last year, when we were in April of 2025, what did the inventory look like then? What were the choices then? Well, they were drastically different. Drastically by 1,000. We had 1,000 fewer choices for buyers this time last year. Sellers had 1,000 fewer competitors on the market. So this time last year, we had 2,383 homes available for purchase, and today we're at 3,385. So what does that mean, you guys? It means that today, in 2026, as we head into May, we're looking at a 42% increase of properties for sale in today's greater Louisville, Kentucky housing market. When we're looking to understand just exactly how the housing market is performing here in April of 26 in Louisville, Kentucky, one of the things that we want to take note of is just how long is it actually taking a seller to sell their property? Meaning, what are the days on market looking like? In real estate, we talk about days on market as in the time that it takes from when you say for sale and the signs in the yard and the home is listed to under contract. So we're not counting the days that have to do with under contract until you get to the closing table. Days on market in real estate just simply means how long did it take for the seller and the buyer to connect to an executed contract. So today, as we round out April in 2026, in the greater Louisville area, we are right under 2 months. It's taking a seller an average of 52 days to go from for sale to contract accepted. Now, how does that compare to this time 4 weeks ago? Actually, the market is a little bit extra peppy right now. It's short by about 8 days in comparison to where we were as we wrapped up quarter 1. So as we were ending March, we were at an average of 60 days on market, and again today we're at 52. Now, how does that compare since the start of the year? Well, remember, when we talk about start of the year, we're talking about January. So in January of 2026, at the very beginning, it was taking sellers over 3 months to go from for sale to contract accepted. In fact, it was taking 98 days. So the market, the pacing of how long it's taking sellers to secure their contract with a buyer, how long it takes for a seller to find their buyer, has been picking up in 26 since the start of 26. So we started at 98 days. 4 weeks ago, we were at 60 days, and here we are, even a little zippier than that, at 52 days as we round out April. Now, what's interesting is that right now, the properties on the market, so the count of inventory is going in the opposite direction. Inventory is going up, even though days on market is trending slightly down. So as more sellers come into the market, If days on market are going slightly down, that also infers that more buyers are coming into the market. So we've got lots of wins across the board for both sellers and buyers. Now, how does this all stack up to this time last year? Well, when we were rounding out April in 2025, it was about the same actually. So it was an average of 56 days on market in April of 25, whereas today we're at 52. What's really fascinating about that is, again, while days on market are staying the same, the inventory is drastically different. This time last year, we had 1,000 fewer choices, 1,000 fewer properties on the market in April of 2025 as we do today in April of 2026. So even though the inventory is going up, which means that the sellers do have more competition and the buyers have many more choices than this time last year, days on market in terms of how long it's taking the seller to find their buyer and go under contract is about the same. When we're thinking about the real estate market, almost everybody, buyers and sellers, property owners, everyone wants to know, but what's that average sales price, right? We all want to know that story. Well, I'm here to give you the information. So today in Greater Louisville, as we round out April in 2026, the average sales price, so we're talking about the deal has closed, buyer has the keys, seller has sold the house and is moving on, the average sales price is $366,624. So we're going to call that about $367,000. Now, where were we 4 weeks ago? We were right at about $325,980 to be exact. So we've seen quite a jump in average sales price in just 4 weeks. Now, at the top of the year, we were again at that, we're going to call it about $329,454. So between the top of 2026 and the end of Q1, as we wrapped up March, it was basically the same. We're talking about 326 to 330. Yet today, as we're surging into the spring, we're seeing those numbers tick up at right about that 367 mark. Now, awesome. And how does that compare in terms of this time last year? So this time last year, the average sales price in Greater Louisville, as we were rounding out April, sat right at $325,344. So what does that mean? It means that right now, homes in April of 26, are about 12.7% higher in terms of their average sales price than they were this time last year. Now, when we put it all together, there are a couple important factors to see here. The pricing is, the sales price is trending up. And on average, real estate appreciates between 4 and 4.4% every year in our country on average. So it's good news that it's trending up, and we would want it to trend up from this time last year, generally speaking. Now, the other part about it is, let's take note that while that price point continues to trend up, we also have more inventory. So that means more choices for buyers. And for sellers, while there's still more competition out there, sellers are winning with a higher average sales price, and sellers are staying steady with days on market, which are hovering right underneath 2 months. So you put all those ingredients together, and we've got quite the fabulous recipe for an excellent spring housing market here in Louisville, Kentucky. If you're serious about understanding the housing market, how it trends and how it behaves in any market, yet especially in Louisville, Kentucky, an important key factor to always keep your eye on and to understand is how the interest rate is trending. Now, what does the interest rate measure? The interest rate measures the cost of borrowing money. So when a buyer gets a mortgage, the interest rate that they secure the mortgage at is going to influence the cost of borrowing that money, which in turn influences the amount of their monthly payment. Now, the amount of their monthly payment in turn influences how much ultimately the buyer can be approved for. Buyers' buying power influences their decisions, and also buyers' buying power influences the sellers as well, because the seller needs buyers who can afford their property for the price point that the seller is selling at to work out. So that's a long way of saying that the interest rate influences everyone in the market, both buyers and sellers. So what exactly is going on with the interest rate? I'll make it short and sweet for you guys. It's steady. this interest rate is steady. So what do I mean by that? Well, today, as we round out April of 26, the 30-year average mortgage rate is sitting at 6.32%. The 15-year is at 5.91. Now, just 4 weeks ago, all right, there's a little bit of a variance. We're talking about maybe like a tenth of a point. 4 weeks ago, the average 30-year rate was at 6.47%. So we have seen a tiny bit of a step down in the past 4 weeks, which is excellent for everyone. That's a win all the way around. And the 15-year rate was at 6.03% this time 4 weeks ago as we rounded out Q1. So again, going from the end of March into the end of April, we're seeing just a slight variance trend down on that average rate. Good news. Still basically steady. Now, where were we at the start of the year? Again, steady is the word. We were at 6.2% as the average 30-year rate, and the average 15-year rate was sitting at 5.74%. So do you see the trend? It's all hovering about the same place. Now, this time last year, our rate was a bit higher. Going into May, rounding out April of 2025, the average 30-year rate was 6.81%, whereas today it's 6.32%. That is a swing of a half a point, which is a lot when it comes to mortgage dollars every month. The average 15-year rate was 6.17%. And again, today it's at 5.91%. So we're seeing a bigger fluctuation in the 30-year rate than we're seeing in the average 15-year rate. Overall, when you are following me in my monthly market updates, you know that I always love to remind everyone that if you look at the 50-year history of our country and you look at the average 30-year mortgage rate, the average 30-year mortgage rate for the United States of America for the past 50 years is 7.1. So all of these rates that we're talking about between today, 4 weeks ago, at the top of 2026, and this time last year are all under that average rate. So when we're looking for a way to tie it all in a bow, when we're looking at our monthly market update here for Louisville, Kentucky, one of the best ways to summarize everything that we're seeing is in the discussion of the absorption rate. The absorption rate is the study of supply and demand. And what the absorption rate says is it says that if we were to freeze all the inventory on the market, which would never happen, yet it's just a unit, it's a way of thinking about the measurement, okay? So if we were to say no new listings on the market, this is what we've got, and we've got to sell through all of these. And then we looked over at the buyers and we said, hey, keep your demand steady. Just keep coming into the market as you have been. Don't change the thing. What we're measuring in absorption rate is how long would it take for all of our current inventory to sell given today's buyer demand, okay? So inventory is representative of sellers, and the demand, of course, is represented by buyers. So what do we know about absorption rate? Well, we know that academically, if you're under 5 months, it's considered a seller's market. If you're in that 6-ish month space, it's in theory a balanced market, and those never last long. And if you're 7 months or over, that's considered a buyer's market. Now, we have been in a seller's market, spoiler alert, in Louisville, Kentucky for a long time. So therefore, it is important for both buyers and sellers to understand the landscape of that. So a 1 month absorption rate of a seller's market is going to behave much differently than, say, a 4 month absorption rate. So while anything under 5, or really even at 5, is considered a seller's market, there's all different points along that spectrum, right? So where are we today? So today we're at a 3.29 months of an absorption rate for Louisville, Kentucky, meaning if no new properties hit the market and the buyer demand stayed right where it is, it would take us a little over 3 months to sell all the property, okay? Now, 4 weeks ago, it was basically the same, just slightly under. We were at 3.11 months, 3.11 months. And at the top of the year, it was actually a little bit tighter. At the top of the year, we entered 2026 under a 3-month inventory at 2.85. Now, that makes sense because we also know that our inventory continues to climb. And our inventory, we have 1,000 more properties on the market today than we did this time last year. So that's going to also explain why this time last year, the absorption rate was significantly different from where it is today. This time last year, it was 2.1 months, and today we're at 3.29 months. So that's a month plus more of inventory that we have in our market today. Ultimately, we're still in a seller's market. Ultimately, the sellers have a bit more competition than they've had in the past, which means buyers have more to choose from. Rates are staying steady, which has given everybody confidence across the board, because confidence really comes from being able to kind of know and predict what's going to happen, and confidence comes from removing chaos. So when the chaos is removed from the interest rates bouncing all around, and especially when they remain under our 50-year average of 7.1, so those interest rates stay steady, the days on market for sellers are staying right under 2 months, the inventory is climbing, sellers do have to pay attention to that competition, buyers do have to get excited about more choices, and ultimately the absorption rate is still putting us on the high edge of the seller's market. That is going to shape up for a great market for this spring and going into the summer for people who are thinking about selling or buying, wanting to buy or sell, and especially if you find yourself in a position where you need to buy or sell. If you find yourself in that position, you're in a great environment to do so. Let's face it, we know that if you're in need of a real estate agent, it's pretty easy to find one. You can jump on social media. You can practically almost trip over a real estate agent. Real estate agents are everywhere. However, when it comes to finding the best one or the right one for you and your family, now that's where it gets a lot more challenging. So here at the Price Group, we take care of our clients in different ways than what you might find out there with other agents and brokers. At the Price Group, we really do focus on doing just that, taking care of our people. Not just in the move and in the transaction, we focus on taking care of our people in all the years in between the moves. You see, I understand that most people in their family and in their life, they've got their people, they've got their doctor, they might have their CPA, they might have their financial advisor, might have their attorney. Well, you need to have your real estate agent too. That person who's just kind of like in your life network. And that's how Price Group shows up for our people. That's how we see our role. We're not here just to get you through a transaction. We're here with you every step of the way for anything and everything that touches real estate in your life. We also want to earn the opportunity not just to be your real estate professional for life. We want to earn the privilege of being the real estate agent for your family tree. It is a blessing and an honor to be able to take care of somebody's mom and somebody's sister and somebody's daughter, to be entrusted with helping a family tree with all of their real estate needs and growing wealth through the equity of their properties over their lifetime. That is work that we don't take for granted and we're honored to be able to do for our people. So why do I share all that with you right now? Well, because it's important to understand our perspective so that you understand why we are so diligent and so committed to bringing you monthly market updates every single month without fail. You see, no matter if you're thinking about buying or selling, wanting to buy or sell, or anticipating maybe a life change happening that might require a purchase or a move or sell of a property, and especially if you are a property owner, if you're in any of those categories, understanding how your local market is trending and behaving at all times is really important, because how the market trends and behaves impacts the equity that you have in your property. And for most Americans, the equity you have in your property, well, your property for most people is one of your largest, if not the largest wealth determinant that you have in your whole portfolio. So you gotta know what's going on. I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective, and you can count on me to take care of you, to keep you updated month over month. So if that information is important for you, and you know that it is, I'm gonna need you to hit that subscribe button right now so that you never miss an update, and I'll be here with you every single month, walking you through it, helping you make sense of it, and making sure you have clarity. Because when you have clarity, we at the Price Group know that that's the key ingredient that you must have before you can make any decisions. So we're here to help you go through the process of making decisions easier. You can count on us. I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective. Feel free to reach out to myself or a member of my team at any time, and to not miss a beat, again, click that subscribe button and follow along. I'll see you next month.